take your experience, trust yourself, and throw in that little personal magic and see what happens. Perfect is not following all the rules. Perfect is not doing everything that you laid out for yourself. Perfect is saying, I'm going to do all the stuff that is probably the most value add or reduces risk or is the most efficient, but I'm going to give myself the space to add authentic creativity to something and make something that's uniquely mine.
Hey, Nicole, what do you get when a former corporate CEO and a do-gooding executive walk into a recording studio?
Well, Erin, nothing, because the two of us are usually on my couch or Zoom, because wine.
You get a podcast created for Gen X women who are bought into the corporate world, but fed up with the BS.
I know. It's how to thrive the 9 to 5 or 6 or 7.
It's career therapy. It's comedy. It's definitely full on authenticity. Basically, we give you tangible strategies to rise in your career without compromising everything else.
Because work doesn't have to suck.
Hey, Nicole.
Hey, Erin.
It's time for another podcast episode.
Yes, it is last of the year because imperfection is the new perfectionism, especially for the holidays. I'm feeling it this year.
I love it. I've felt it for years. So join the frickin' train. It's about time.
Please tell me you persisted in not sending Christmas cards this year.
I didn't. And I was just talking to somebody at hockey, I think, on Monday night. And we're talking about how stressful this time of the year is. Oh, no, it was my friend we were walking to yesterday morning. And I said, look, I've never done Elf on the Shelf. I stopped doing Christmas cards 4 years ago. I've never done cookie swap where I have to bake like 5 dozen
I've never
cookies.
even been invited to one.
And I only have 2 children. And I still, like, the holidays are stressed out. So if you're on here and you do all of those things and or have more than 2 children,
and work.
I can't.
And have a life. No, I thought, well, because you know what happens is like there are triggers, right? And I think December is such an interesting time because it is a time when I feel like, generally speaking, people in this country are generally like a less asshole version of themselves. Like there is something in the water, in the air, in the season where people are just a little bit more, collegial, community oriented, happy, expectant, whatever the fuck it is like December is like the free pass that we all get to being like just a little bit better humans. But the counterweight of that is that a lot of us feel individually stressed. So collectively, we seem awesome. Individually, people are like fucking losing their minds.
Yeah, so. I feel like it's like we're clicking our coconuts. We're so excited for this like peaceful, like work is going to slow down. We're going to be in our jammies and we're going to be with, our family. But all we're doing is like future dreaming, because to get there is like, especially, I hate to say it for women, is like a road paved with like a million hellish things to take care of.
Promises and expectations and like, yeah, remember we talked about this too before, is like how when we were talking about, even just about general goal setting, about how suddenly we put all these big goals on top of all the daily shit we're supposed to do and we wonder how we don't succeed. It's like Christmas, holidays are a great example of that, right?
Yeah.
So
how wants to do big shit in January after, pulling off like the perfect gift giving, hosting,
thoughtful gift, right? Several, and it's not just once. It's not like a birthday. It's like several times. I'm going to host, or I'm going to attend. Yeah, no, there's a lot going on where I think individually it's very easy to set our expectations way too high for ourselves about what the perfect situation feels like. Also, I'm sorry, but the data person in me says past experience, like 47 years of imperfect Christmases, indicates that it might be really hard to have a perfect Christmas. Why do I keep trying the same shit? Maybe perfectionism is not the goal. So I've been really, as you know, thinking a lot about how letting go of perfectionism sometimes really allows things to be perfect, because in that space in between, when you're not stressed or when you have some flexibility or just spontaneity, it's amazing what can arise, right? Like I've been really focused on finding the magic of the season a little bit every day, not putting it all into one day.
Tell us more.
So first of all, creating space, right? Just to experience things differently. Maybe it's spontaneously connecting with a friend, or maybe it's taking time to wrap gifts, not in a stressful way. Think about a menu. To go and attend an event that I want to attend, but not attend too many events. So every day I've been thinking to myself since Thanksgiving is like, what's like one or two things that's going to make me feel happy, engaged in the season, or delighted, or take stress off at a different time. And so, you know, a good example is I was invited to one of these like Santa train things. And sometimes it can be a little stressful because I start at 5 and I work at 5. So, I took a couple hours off of work. I called up my friends and I said, I'm not feeling great. Can you guys drive me? I wore my PJs, and was super comfy. And like, I didn't put all, I didn't, I made it plans after that for that weekend so that we could exchange gifts with some of the kids. The 3 of my goddaughters were there. Rather than trying to also coordinate gift exchange that day when there was a lot going on with the kids. All of it. I just kind of was like, I'm just going to take this experience. I'm going to go. At first I wasn't even going to go because it just seemed like was a lot going on. But I just started to like say like, yeah, I'm going to do this. Okay. How am I going to do this a little better? How am I going to, change this? Also, every day I've been coming home and putting on Christmas music. I set my lights on timers so that my Christmas lights go on at a certain time. I don't have to go around and turn them on. They just turn on. So there's like Christmas magic. I'm not hosting this year, but I decorated the shit out of the house with what I wanted. Like, I like to do greenery because it's a historic New England home. So it screams Christmas. Somebody should film a Hallmark movie here. So, my approach to events have been different. I've been trying to make things like smaller, more manageable, engage with others. People love to help this season. Let them help you. I've been, doing these little things to make it just feel festive around the house. On my lunch break yesterday, I hate wrapping gifts. Hate wrapping gifts.
Which is like the only thing I don't mind doing, of course.
Hate it. So I just, I spent my lunch hour basically making a collage. I just took pieces of wrapping paper and taped them to the box and I was like, it's a original art by Nicole. So I did that. And I took another like evening off. Instead of going to the gym, I called my sister-in-law and I was like, let's have a conversation about what your family really wants for Christmas. Like, I love my nephew. I want to give you something special. Let's have a conversation. So we had a nice chat. We don't talk that much. We text
instead of like, send me a list.
Yeah. And I wasn't doing it like on my lunch hour. Like, we talked after we went to bed. We had like a half-hour chat. We had a great conversation. We came up with a great plan. I bought them a gift card to the zoo so they can get an extended family membership to the zoo. And it includes like other people. So like my mom can go, and Sonny loves the zoo and it's in the town next door. It's kind of like it's an icon of Connecticut, the Beardsley Zoo. It has reciprocal relationships with other museums, and he's at that curious age. One, I love giving thoughtful gifts. I might not have thought of this on my own. And I think sometimes it can be really hard for people to ask for what they want.
Or they don't even know what they want. And so you probably, like coaching, like you sort of like by having a conversation and forcing, right? Because people ask all the time what kids want or what we want. And it's just like innovation. It doesn't happen on the spot. It happens through like space and turns of conversations. Yeah.
And sometimes you just want to have a nice conversation with somebody about it rather than me.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God, it's Saturday. I have one Saturday left before Christmas. I'm going to run out and shop or go online, and in my own head, which I do a lot, I'm going to solve all the problems of the universe. I just was like, it would feel perfect to me to have all my shopping done by December 16th. Guess what? That's not happening this year for various reasons. And also, I think I would like to take time to have more thoughtful, I'm giving to fewer people this year. Would like to have more thoughtful conversations with those fewer people. What an opportunity to actually find out what I can give them. And there's so many, I don't know if you have this, but there's so many preconceived notions around gift giving. I just feel like it's something we need to talk about. preconceived notions. Like, first of all, the difference between a gift and a trade. Like, a gift is something you give somebody because you really want them to have it. You want to give them of yourself, your time, your love, your attention, your object. A trade is when you're expecting something in return, right? Like, we have to be very clear engaging in.
Or you're giving that gift because you know they're going to give you something and you'll feel guilty if you don't return it. I feel like that's even more, I think that's more prevalent. Yeah.
Exactly. I got very clear on who I'm giving gifts to this year. And there's all the people that I truly love and want to give gifts to. And some of those people I've never given gifts to before. And some people that I have given things to in the past are no longer on the list for various reasons. So I got really intentional about my gift giving. It's gift giving. It's not trading this year. And then I decided, rather than putting myself on some false schedule that would make me feel good momentarily about having everything done, maybe not necessarily feeling great about the gifts, all the gifts I give. I said, let me take an opportunity, having culled this list, to actually engage deeply in what people want. And, that's not something that, I didn't want to make it like I was asking for donations from a nonprofit, like call them up and be like, hi, it's Nicole. I'd like to know what you'd like for Christmas. And can you please make sure to submit list by 5 p.m. or close of business? Thank you very much.
If you do, I'll send you that sticker, the police sticker that goes on the back of your car. Yeah.
Right. And so I put some like intentionality to it. And is my shopping, is my gifting, because it's not even shopping. Is my gifting done? No. But I feel really confident that when I see people that they will be gifted in the way that in a way that I feel really comfortable. Also, because sometimes, we just have these traditions and then families change, like people grow up or people pass away, and we're still trying to like keep up this tradition of gift giving in an old way. And it can be kind of stressful. So I suggested some changes this year to our family gift giving. I think sometimes my family does not engage in conversation very easily. So I adopted a new technology, the family group message. Now, this probably sounds like something everybody has. My family did not. So most of it was ended up being making fun of my mother and talking about food. But what it did was it gave equality to everybody in the conversation. All the people in my family, they don't engage the same way with everybody, and they don't always say what they're thinking, or they might not feel like in a conversation one-on-one or in conversations that are sporadic that they can get all the information triangulated they need. So what was happening is that there were tons of conversations. They were all kind of passing through my mother, but my mom's not like the best reporter or coordinator of information. And I'm probably the better person for that, but like, that's not my traditional role in the family. So I was like, let me create this magical space called the family group message, even though we're not all on iPhone, okay? Where we actually talk about some things and we can propose ideas. So first we started talking about what time and what days are we seeing each other. Complicated conversation because of schedules. Okay, we finally got through that. Then we started talking through menu. That was good. There was some humor. Then I brought up the concept of gifts, right? Because always stressful, and immediately it goes silent. It goes like dark, right? Because my mother like bought gifts in fucking April.
Yeah.
And my sister-in-law is
don't mess with my strategy.
Yeah. And my sister-in-law's probably like, why do I have to buy for these fucking adults? Like, what are we doing? So I was like, I have an idea. How about a new tradition? Nothing crazy, everybody. We're doing a combination of a secret Santa with for the people, like the core group. And then since we're not entirely sure who's coming to the extended version, we're going to do a version of a grab bag where everybody just brings something. So whether or not you were invited or you were hauled in off the street, like bring your $10 grab bag item and you can participate. And what we're going to do is we're going to read The Night Before Christmas, and we're going to turn it into a drinking game / gift trade. So every time the word "and" is spoken, we're both going to drink and pass the gift.
And I'm guessing this was all your idea.
All my idea.
Yeah, of course.
All my idea.
Good thing you have the group stage.
Look at me being like the coordinator. Like, am I a manager of people or what? But I wasn't impressing my ideas. My mom thinks this is great. I think she said to me that she's excited because I think my mom's been a little depressed about
do something new.
right? And Thanksgiving was a shit show. So something different is great. I think my sister-in-law feels less stressed because she doesn't have to do all this thinking for her family and our family, right? As the wife, sometimes that happens traditionally. Other people can randomly come and participate. So I know this is not mind-blowing, but for my family, kind of good. And I feel like this is, rather than feeling this is stressful, I've been like, this is the magic of the holiday season. I'm doing little things every day to make every day feel like a holiday, to have and on those specific days to create a little bit of, calm and maybe just rest and relaxation rather than craziness and stress. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, because I feel like, especially around the holidays, part of it too is I think we are so tied to tradition, and
But in a weird way.
like mainly because we think everybody else probably wants the tradition, whether it's the kids who they like repetition. I think there's something for that, but also us, and just being that person that is the first to admit, like, I know we do this every year, but I think it's stupid, or it drives me crazy, or we could do it a better way.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I mean, and I think that's a microcosm for the working world, that, we talk about all the time, the authenticity, everybody really wants it, but we think we're like the only one. We have this disease that we think we're the only one sitting back going, I'm so sick of the bullshit. I think it's the same in the holidays. Everybody's afraid to be the first person to voice, what probably everybody else is thinking, which is, this is expensive, or this is stupid, or this is a lot of work, or why don't we do it in a different way? And
particularly for people with children, they want it to be magical, right? This is the big payoff for being a kid. You wake up Christmas morning or whatever your holiday tradition is, but particularly Christmas, you wake up and you're like, this is why I have to deal with these assholes every day. Christmas.
Christmas.
This is my payoff. This is it. This is why I exist, is I get presents for existing. Of course I do. I mean, and every parent wants that to be a magical experience, which I totally understand. But the other thing,
I think we're all. I mean, I think it is sort of payoff for kids, but I think that's part of it, is that part of what we hold on to in those traditions that we do is us probably subconsciously trying to hold on to our childhood, but meanwhile we're holding on to at least 50% of the shit that we don't want to do. So
this makes us all feel like children, right? Nostalgia is a really powerful thing. Sometimes
but that doesn't mean that it doesn't mean it's like back to the 50% rule. Like, you do not have to change everything. Like, you can keep foundational things. Like, you always get together. You always do fishes on Christmas Eve or whatever it is.
Or not.
Like, we're doing homemade pizzas this Christmas. Normally we do the big fat Greek meal, or the big fat, normal Christmas meal. And I know this episode is airing. We're actually airing it after Christmas. So if you're listening, you're probably like, okay, I'm so done with that. But hopefully this gives you inspiration, not just for, 360 days from now. But I think it's
apply to Juneteenth, whatever.
Yeah, apply it to other holidays, apply it to
birthdays. Okay, those are the personal New Year where you feel like, I have to throw my kids
everything,
best birthday party ever, and nobody else is suffering around you. You're suffering silently.
Meanwhile, everybody's having. I mean, I have this all the time in hockey where we're secretly lamenting about why did we have 3 games the last 2 weekends right before the holidays, and everybody's privately talking about it. It's well, that's because nobody's speaking up and saying at the beginning of the season, let's not overschedule this time of year. So I also know you did something else during this time. You bought yourself a present, and I love the new mindset. And you said you 50% ruled it, but I love.
I'm 50% rolling.
I've been thinking about you,
girl.
I've been thinking about you though, and what you said around budgeting for your flight and stuff. So maybe tell people about that as well.
Yeah. Well, okay. But first of all, can I share my best holiday gifting win so far?
Oh, yes.
Because I'm also not waiting to give the gifts on Christmas. So the girl who, one of the girls who does manicures and lashes, she's going through divorce, and I'm like the divorce whisperer, right? I collect people who have been through breakups and divorce and help encourage them to their new lives. And I bought her, I just very simply, I got her an ornament and it says ho, ho, ho on it. And I wrote top 3 to-dos for 2024. Ho, ho, ho. And it was just, she's young, she's beautiful, she's adorable. And like, she understands that kind of humor. And I was like, or you could just say it's personalized, either or. She thought that was so funny. And we had the best laugh over this like $4 ornament that I made personal with a very personal, funny note. And she's like, this might be like the greatest gift of all time. So it's like, ho, 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 top 3 to-do list. I feel like I should start a t-shirt line because that would be a great, ugly sweater. Goals for 2024. Ho, 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 ho. Shh, if mom's listening, I didn't say that. But it was pretty funny. So I do love giving like creative gifts like that. And sometimes it's not the gift itself, but it's the presentation of the gift.
The sentiment.
That was great. And I told her that I also wanted pictures, Instagram pictures of her like actually being successful, like doing all the things. So I was like, I expect various pictures of you dressed up cute, out with your friends or vacationing or whatever. I was like, I want to see you living the life. So it came with an actual like set of dares, for her to.
Oh my God, that's so brilliant.
To do in her new life, and I think she really appreciated it. So I got a lot from you though with the last year when we did the New Year's dares. I've been sharing that mindset with others, and I just thought it was funny because divorce is hard, especially this time of year.
Hey, it's Erin. Look, I'm not sure if you're a book kind of person, but if you are and you're looking for a self-development-y type book that isn't stuffy and snoozy, I sincerely think you'd love my book, You Do You-ish. I tossed aside the standard BS most nonfiction books dish up, and instead, I give you real, sometimes tough love coaching on how to think about getting the career you deserve without working harder. It'll reframe how you think about the concept of authenticity in the workplace. It'll be sure that you hear and rewrite your sucky songs and walk you through my humans framework, the 6 principles of strategic authenticity. Since it's been rolling now for over 2 years, and it has over 130 Amazon reviews and a 4.9 rating, I can say with complete sincerity, I really think you'd love it. You can buy a copy by searching You Do You-ish on Amazon or head to the show notes for a direct link.
I did give myself a gift, and part of it stems back to what we were talking about a couple episodes ago. I don't know if our listeners remember I was talking about, the shitty work residuals, and I had my big takeaway from that was one of the things that I really missed were the relationships, some of the relationships that I had built in prior jobs. And I thought, how can I take that learning from that episode and marry it with the magic of the holiday season, which is in part reaching out to people that you've lost touch with or whatever, right? So I said, this is going to be part of my magic of the holiday season. One of my favorite colleagues I worked with very, very closely in my last job retired. She moved to a fabulous place in paradise, and she's been essentially glamping there while they're building a house that was destroyed in a hurricane, doing all this amazing stuff. And we lost touch a little bit. And I reached out to her and I just said, hey, remember when we talked about me coming to visit you? Here's a couple weeks that I'm thinking about. How does this look to you? And she said, are you kidding? I mean, she thought I was joking. And, by that evening, I had just booked a flight. I booked a series of flights. It's not easy to get to. So I simply just executed on it. I said, you know what? Give me 24 hours. I said, I'm committing to this. I'm going to figure it out. And what's really interesting about the way that I approached it was rather than to say to myself, all right, first of all, I really wanted to go see her, but it's not a cheap trip. I really wanted to invest in this relationship. And I said, okay, Nicole, here's how you're going to do it. You really want to do this, but it's going to be complicated. Give yourself a new metric of success and a new way of approaching this, rather than simply finding the cheapest flight, because that's the logic. Go cheapest flight. You want to minimize cost, right? But we're only thinking about cost in dollar amounts. We're not thinking about it in time or stress or any other factor. And before I was committing to this trip, I had done a little research, and I was talking myself out of it because it was so complicated to get to this remote destination in the Caribbean and expensive. And the more I looked, the more I realized that if like I could probably cobble together some things, independently, not just like go on Google Flights or whatever, but independently cobble something. And rather than choosing the cheapest trip, I gave myself a budget, and I said, find the best itinerary in this budget. I said, this is what you can afford. Find the best itinerary. And it changed my mindset. Suddenly I started thinking about, I know how to travel. Like I've been traveling for 30 years, and there wasn't Google before. Like the way to book flights, like I know how to do this. And the way to do this was not to like enter, be like, I want to go from, JFK to fancy Caribbean destination. Please give me all my options, click button. No. It took a little more effort. So I cobbled together something from like a cheap flight. I'm probably going to be sitting in a lawn chair with like a balloon, but like
You're not
flying.
on Spirit, I hope.
Not on Spirit, but on something even closer to that. A flying lawn chair from New Haven, but that's 7 minutes from my house. So rather than having to drive 3 hours to JFK and then take a flight out of JFK, which would have been nominally cheaper, I'm taking a flight that's 7 minutes from my house, that's a couple hours to a connecting point. And then I booked a private, like a semi-private charter service that I found. And then I booked a private boat because the only way to get to her island is on a boat. And because I did it sort of offline, sort of found these entities, and gave myself permission to think differently about the process, I actually ended up with a price that, once all the fees and taxes and hidden shit and transit time and money and parking to get to New York were involved, I think I actually ended up a little bit cheaper. I was certainly within budget and probably under what I would have ended up paying to include, $300 of parking at JFK. So in the end, I think the mindset, but like I was, as much as I was like, I'm doing this, I'm going to go see Lynn, there was a part of me that was like, oh God, I can't, I need to back out of this. Like, there's no way I can make this work. There's no way I can make this work. And the shifting of the mindset just absolutely changed the whole experience for me. So, I changed the value and the cost to be simply from dollar amount to being like factoring my time, comfort, other transit. And so I'm actually really excited to see how this goes. Like, this is going to be not just a flight, but it's going to be an adventure.
Right. I can't help but picturing you like showing up in a little boat with Jeff Probst from Survivor, like driving you in and dropping you off at her house, and like the final mile, the final leg.
I have a feeling there's going to be a golf cart involved. Like, there's at least one golf cart involved for sure. Not in an airport.
If total failure, if not.
No, I'm fairly certain. I hope there's some swimming. Maybe there's some like hiking across a body of water with my shit above my head. That evokes that evokes years of voyaging in various places. But maybe I'm getting back to my roots a little bit. I wanted some of that old feeling I used to have. Like, that adventure was the best part. So, I think this is a little bit of the holiday spirit, right? And also a little of the magic of the awesome travel that I experienced this year. So, also it's great to have friends to go visit, because it really, has allowed me to extend, obviously, the kinds of travel that I want to do. Like, I could not afford to go to this fabulous location without having a friend's house to glamp in. I mean, I hope there's a functioning bathroom, but I really don't care. Wouldn't be my first rodeo.
Yeah.
Ho, ho, ho.
I love it. Speaking of doing things differently and the dares last year, we have to talk quickly. And then if you're on this episode and you're like, where's this going? We're just going to hear Nicole's stories and how she's like transformed. And so if you're not into like, how is Nicole, who was just a freaking hot mess 3 years ago, now like doing things differently, then, feel free to sign off. But
and I am still a hot mess at like various points in my life and day.
100%. But
it's not the general trajectory.
Not the general trajectory. But we have to talk about, so last year, one of the New Year's dares I gave you was, as you called it, to watch more sports balls. ball,
Sports
which
ball.
is literally a phrase that now our family, who are huge sports ball fans, like we call everything sports ball. It's that is probably the best thing that came out of that episode of the, what do we do, like 5 days?
Yeah, like 10 bears each. Yeah,
10 dares each that we randomly did. But and you did it. You went to, and I think we told this story the couple months in. She's like, I'm at a sports ball event, and I'm like, oh my gosh, which one? And meanwhile I'm sitting in my living room watching like the biggest UConn women's basketball game of the season in my basement because we were doing the remodel. And so I'm down there, and she sends a picture, and I'm like, are you effing kidding me? You're at the UConn women's. I think it was a big championship game.
You're like perched on your crock pot watching TV in the basement.
And you're there.
I'm like, look at me.
You're there. I'm like, no, I didn't mean that. Good, but we have to talk about Tommy Cutlets real quick. And here's what we want to talk about.
My God.
And it's not just funny, but Tommy Cutlets, which I'll tell what that means, is a perfect example of the 50% rule, which is my next book coming out in October, which I don't even think we've announced. I officially signed with a publisher. Did we announce that?
We officially signed with a publisher.
Yeah.
Wait for the episode. We'll probably do one. But yeah, it's congratulations.
No, we're not going to do one. That's it.
October, by the way, because seriously, I am like, I haven't read the book, but I am like living the 50% rule, and it's changing everything I do. Like everything.
Because
In my management meetings, by the way.
I don't want to wait till October either, because quite frankly, the thing's like 98% written, and it's a freaking great book. But mainly because I didn't want to do it in the summer, and the whole thing's going to be around the tailgate tour, and tailgating is best in the fall, so that's why we decided on October.
Yes.
But Tommy Cutlets, which is Tommy DeVito, for anybody that doesn't know sports and doesn't know football, NFL. So the New York Giants, which are our team, who have completely sucked the last couple years, and their starting quarterback was injured like game, I don't know, 4 or something. And then the second string quarterback was injured. And in comes this guy, Tommy DeVito, who obviously is quite Italian. And they call him Tommy Cutlets because even though he is starting for the New York Football Giants, one of the most iconic sports ball teams of all time, he still lives at home in New Jersey with his Italian mother and father, who cooks for him and makes his bed and
does his laundry.
And he's not afraid to talk about it. Like, it's not like some reporter dug deep into, his life and unearthed. And so not only is that his agent is about as Italian as it, so he's up in the stands. They show him all the time. He looks straight out of a mafia movie, which he is not stupid, by the way. If you watch the interview I sent you,
let me tell you what exactly he looked. My first thought was he looks like Crazy Mario from the Bronx Tale, like the fedora, the schnoz. Like, if you know the Bronx Tale, you know who I'm talking about. It's one of Colosimo's friends. You're like, that. It's Crazy Mario. You're like, this guy's. It's a real. I'm sure there's a connection.
But here is why. So 50% rule to me is because, I mean, obviously Tommy DeVito is a very good football player, even though he's third string. I mean, he won, high school championships right there in that same stadium. He was a superstar, right? Like anybody that makes the NFL.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he was a walk-on, or a practice team guy.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But I mean, he's still legit, right? Like, he's a legit player, even though he's like third string.
Talent.
But this isn't the first time the third string quarterback has had to come in. It's definitely not the first time the second or third string quarterback has done well. But there is complete mania around this guy, because even though he's your typical quarterback in the sense of how he plays, like, half of him is so atypical with his agent and his Italian signs, which you can talk about, and his talking about his mother. And so, I mean, one Instagram post, which I sent to you, I mean, had 200 and some thousand likes, and like that.
And I didn't know who this guy was.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about him.
And you don't care about football, and most people don't, but like Tommy Cutlets is a thing because about half of what he does is totally unique and different, and people are dying over it.
And I think also, speaking as an Italian American from the Northeast, we are very well aware too that sports, the aura of Joe DiMaggio and those like him it was an entree for Italian Americans to become part of the regular fabric of American society. And there are many other cultures who could say this too, you know, the Jackie Robinsons of the world, right? And the Roberto Clementes later, right? Immigrant groups or groups that were able to integrate through like sort of the all-Americanism of sports.
Mhm.
And so having sports icons, boxers, baseball players, football players, and Italian culture is like, there's like a real sort of historic nostalgia here. So not to get too deep, but you have a bunch of people feeling like, oh my God, this is a legacy we haven't heard of in a long time. And the fact that people are making fun of him a little bit, like with the whole finger pinch thing, which I will interpret for all of you, and the agent, like Italian Americans are really good at laughing at themselves. Like,
Which
really
is
good at it.
authenticity, right? Like the humility as speed pass to people loving you.
It is. And I understand that stereotypes can be difficult and dangerous and not everybody loves them. But Italian Americans are really, really good at laughing at themselves and find a lot of like joy and humor in that culture, which is uniquely Italian American. It's not Italian, it's Italian American and predominantly Northeastern. And a lot of it is Northern New Jersey. So, you know, there's quite a bit of like joy and familiarity and something in all of that. And to see like the Saints fans, you know, even when he like, you know, getting demolished or whatever, you know, doing the finger pinch, like it's just so funny. I'm like, oh my God, we're all speaking gabagool. Like this is amazing. You know, like it's amazing to see, you know, in an era when we're canceling everything, it's like, oh my God. Like, look at this kind of authentic comeback of this kind of unique way of being that is like so familiar to me. So I'm absolutely dying at some of this. Or some of the things that his agent says, I'm like, I think he's partially a genius. I think also he's somebody's going to like call him out and be like, no, you're an idiot. Like you need a translator, like someone to speak for you.
I thought the interview was pretty interesting. I think it's also
he was interesting. It was.
I think it's also interesting that the NFL has had seemingly, and one larger than the other, you could argue, but seemingly two sort of unplanned, never could have been planned, unexpected boosts to their followership. And none of it had to do with traditional marketing, talking about football. You know, they try all the things, right? Amazon now does the Thursday night thing. They put in new theme songs with different, you know, artists singing the Monday Night Football and the Sunday night, you know, right? They try all the things. And
I would never watch football because of those things.
None of that.
But I will for Tommy Cutlets.
The two things happen, right? One, which is the Tommy Cutlets, which has probably brought a whole new, you know, circuit of Italian Americans or even people that just want to laugh at something that's unique.
New York City, New York Giants adjacent fans, like adjacent for whatever reason, right?
And well, I don't even think it's Giants fans. I think people are loving this story, right? Regardless. And then, of course, the other is the Taylor Swift, right? The Travis Kelce.
I was like, what's number two? I forgot.
No, that's number one. That's actually number one.
That's number one.
And if you're living under a rock, then you wouldn't know. But I'm pretty sure you know that.
About the Travis Taylor thing. Yeah. No, I do know about it. I just find that like really like less interesting because that's like the exponential value of superstardom, whereas like Tommy Cutlets is the underdog story, right?
I think it is I think in part it is the exponential value of like, I think on the surface, that's what people think is like wherever Taylor goes, whatever Taylor touches, you know, you get to benefit, you know, you're welcome NFL. But I actually think it's more than that because, again, I wrote the book on the 50% rule and one of the things, I know this is turning to a 50% rule advertisement, get used to it because I love the freaking concept in the book and it's not coming for a long time. But one of the things I write about that I really noticed when kind of like observing this 50% rule out in the wild is that juxtapositions in particular really, I say juxtapositions create joyful jolts, which is like this, you know, of course, cute little alliteration. But essentially what it means is that when you put two opposing things together, so yes, it's Taylor Swift. So you're always going to get the Taylor Swift effect. No doubt about it. But there's also like a juxtaposition between the fans that she has and the type of people in general that are the super fans, right? There tend to be younger girls that do not watch football. Luckily, my daughter is not one of those. She does watch football. You know, Hamilton's a perfect example of juxtapositions, you know, really creating this like noise. And So every time I see things like this, of course, now I'm looking at it through a different lens. And I think, the lesson is if you can take two things that you love about yourself or you love about the world in general that are awesome, but are really weird and put them together, like Barbie and Oppenheimer was a perfect example. That made no fucking sense, right? They a Nazi Germany movie and freaking pink Barbie, plastic Barbie movie.
This only makes sense in like Lakota land. My mom likes to watch Holocaust movies on holidays, but like I know what you're saying, right? Like bring these two crazy things together.
Wait, where there's no sense.
Imperfect perfection, right?
Exactly. And that's part of the power of the 50% rule. It isn't just doing half things your own way, but doing things half your own way and also supercharging it with like sometimes the weirder combination it is.
Yeah.
The more powerful, the more noticeable, the more likable it is.
The way I've been explaining it sometimes, like in my management team a little bit, because I work with a lot of folks who there's by a bit of scripting to their jobs, but also not everything is laid out for them. What I've been saying is like, take 50% of what you know to be true. And then, right, like take 50% of what you know you have to do, like the standard operating procedure, and throw out the other 50% that someone's telling you to do, that doesn't apply to this case because you're smart, because you have experience. I was like, and fill in that gap with what you think you should do, right?
Yeah.
Like go on your instinct and your experience. So like, yes, take the good stuff that you should do, the stuff that mitigates risks or takes care of the big rocks, right? But you're allowed to throw out the stuff that is suggestive, right? Take your experience, trust yourself, and throw in that little personal magic and see what happens. Like perfect is not following all the rules. Perfect is not doing everything that you laid out for yourself. Perfect is saying like, I'm going to do all the stuff that is probably the most value add or is, reduces risk or is the most efficient, but I'm going to give myself the space to add authentic creativity to something and make something that's uniquely mine. I will defend people every single day. Even if something goes fucking sideways, I will defend them every single day for trying to apply their personal magic to something.
Agree.
In a thoughtful way.
Agree. And what I love about what you just said is part of me is like, yeah, that's exactly right. But I also like, because that is the sort of foundational rule, but part of it, I'm also like, doesn't matter if it's right. Like part of what I hope to see is like 80,000 different definitions of the 50% rule that come out once, the book is out and it's more people are sort of understanding the rule and its power. And that's what's fun about it. Like it will evolve. Like for me, that's where I was 2 years ago. And now that's just ingrained in me. And now like the way I'm like at 201, 301, I'm not saying that's any better. It's just that you start to see once you get past just the permission to throw out half and do half your own way. And then you start to see, and then if I layer on juxtapositions or if I layer on this or
right.
like that's what's
whatever you want.
And that's what makes it a book. Like if
right.
there wasn't these permutations and mutations, then like I would never have written.
And you have to tie it too to like your own experience, right? Because I'm someone who, for example, I think of things sort of in like somewhat more constrained boxes. So for me, it's about giving myself space and permission and time and flexibility. So when I overschedule myself by being like a perfectionist or trying to do all the right things or recreate everything, I don't have any space to do other things, right? I don't have space to like add on joy or to do something spontaneous or to try something different because I've all my time and energy and effort is doing the things that I've always done, which have gotten a certain, usually pretty successful result. But wanting something different, you have to create some space. So like the 50% rule allows me to say like, okay, take the good stuff, throw out the stuff that's like medium or like you're not so sure about, and then create some space to do other stuff. For me, it's about embracing spontaneity in my life.
Yeah.
Space and spontaneity.
Yes, that's a great word. I hadn't used that, but the spontaneity is what makes you creative, but also is so much more fun.
So much more fun and like delightful to get through every single day, whether it's the holidays or like work or whatever. But I'm sorry, I just have to go back to one thing because I promised a definition. I just want to say like this is
The hand, can you describe it? Because it's this is an audio show. I don't know.
Yes, the finger pinch, right? The Italian finger pinch. Like, what is he doing? What is he saying? I've heard a lot of definitions. I will tell you what this is. It is the Italian exclamation point, right? It is like, if you want to add emphasis to something, because we talk with our hands, it's this, right? So but it can have various contexts, right? Like if you do, like, what he does this, he puts his fingers in the air. He's doing after
a touchdown or a good catch.
I heard someone be like, "Oh, he's basically telling people they're like idiots or whatever," and I was like, "No, that wrong use of the finger point. What he's doing is it's kind of like a chef's kiss. He's kind of like being like, this is amazing, like it's wonderful, like look at this, right? What a success!" And there's always
it's like an Italian fist in the air.
Thanks be to God, right? It's a thanks be to God. It's like, thank you, Mother Mary, for blessing me in this moment. And it's above, because everybody, it's really a thank you to everybody. It's not even a show off. It's a thank you, right? It's an Italian exclamation point. Yeah. But if you're doing it forward, you're like, hey, capiche? Do you understand me, right?
True with them is matters.
Yeah, capiche? Like, do you understand what I'm saying, right? If you pull it back and you get the two, that's like, you idiot. Like, this is what the agent was referring to. He used a derogatory term, which I will not. I cannot believe no one has called him out on this, but he used an extremely derogatory term when describing it, which is it surprises me that no one has canceled him for that. But I was like, that is like, hey, like, you kidding me? Like, so you can see how every interaction is its own language, right? And then I think the other one I was thinking of is like the one-handed one was close to me. It's like, hey, what do you want from me? Like, right? So it's like, thanks be to God. I'm kidding me, like, what do you want from me? Or like, hey,
that needs to be a reel or a meme, or like, I can see the diagram of the Italian. What do you call this? Finger pinch?
The finger pinch. So everybody here, tell all your friends who like the sports ball and the NFL and the Tommy Cutlets that you didn't go to Sean Stellato for the definition, or the National Italian American Foundation, or Joey down the street. Like, you came to the Because Work Doesn't Have to Suck podcast for your official interpretation of the Tommy Cutlets finger. I spread the word.
I love it.
Hey, Erin here. Look, I am so happy you're here listening to the Because Work Doesn't Have to Suck podcast. But I'm also guessing that some days it can be tough to get over here, and you may not always have the time to throw in your earbuds for half an hour or an hour. So if you also want career and leadership tips, inspiration, and quite frankly, professional pot stirring, the best bite-sized way to get that from me is to connect on LinkedIn. Almost daily, I share tips, inspiration, and humor to help you, maybe your less than authentic boss too, be more authentic at work. You can find me by searching my name. I'm literally the only Erin Hatzakostas in the world, or at least the online world. So if you can spell it, you can find me. Or we make it easy. You can scroll down to the show notes and click the link there. See you there.
All right. If we haven't talked enough about random stuff, I just want to do a quick year in review with you and ask you a few questions. And then I'm going to play the role of Nicole. I have a little story at the end.
I love the end story.
What an idiot I am, that I will cap us off. So if you stick around,
and then I'll probably make fun of you for it.
Okay. Couple questions. Favorite sports ball of the year. What was your favorites? Because I know you did more than one. What was your favorite sports ball event?
Favorite sports ball event? To be honest, I really enjoyed sharing in the joy of the Super Bowl party that I went to this year. Like, I went to a Super Bowl party. I don't ever go to a Super Bowl party. That was really, really fun. I think that is also in direct competition with the fact that I went to multiple Hartford Yard Goat ball games, and I find it fucking brutal except the food is quite good at the
And
stadium.
the beer. It's like you gotta change your mindset. I'm going to a
And
bar.
the kids were involved. Like the kids, I was there with my goddaughters, and multiple times they had things. They were like on the field with the balls, or their choruses were singing. So I liked the whole holiday hoopla was one great thing, and then I liked the hometown hoopla. I got both out of it.
Yards Goats are just basically a bar with good entertainment. That's how I think of it. All right.
Yeah,
If you could give a TED talk about something that happened in 2023, what would the title be?
it's hard to decide. I think my top one would be about. I want to give it a snazzy title. Nothing's coming to mind, but how to take a short break from your own life, right?
Yeah, the 5
Something like that. Yes. There's a close second one that I want to record a podcast about. Maybe I'll save it for that because we haven't talked about it yet. But it's about learning about the difference between teaching and instructing, like that deep value of those two. I have so many deep thoughts about what it means to be an instructor versus a teacher.
Okay.
That's a future TED Talk coming your way, people.
Got it. What's your favorite meme you saw this year? I know these are hard questions that I didn't let you prep for.
No prepping. I feel like I should. Honestly, I feel like if I sent out Christmas cards, they would probably just be all memes this year.
Maybe
that would be
we'll do next year.
That would be my Christmas card.
That's a 50% rule. Christmas cards with their memes.
Because I thought about it. I was like, all these photo cards. I was like, what would mine have on it? Pictures of like my nephew and his family, like other people's family events, things, screenshots of things I need to go shopping for, and memes that I've saved from Facebook. That would be my Christmas card.
The camera roll.
I think I just made up my own meme. But also I can't say one meme because I know a lot actually come to mind, but not specifically. But there's this guy who I feel like this African-American guy is probably in his late 30s. And he does this thing with just words and he like turns his head. I think his name is Corey. Dude freaking cracks me up. He literally is in my head. Like everything he says is in my head. And he did one recently about like, I can't remember what it was. It was like about like non-peopling and ADHD. But he's just fun. I think he is the meme. Like his whole shtick. Yeah.
All right.
You remember his name.
What is your personal record for consecutive days wearing pajamas during the work week?
It's the COVID uniform for me. Erin, we're going on 3 years here.
I'm like 900. We're talking over 1,000 days.
We're talking over 1,000 days where I have not missed an opportunity to put on black leggings and a compression tank top. So much so that I bought these like inserts like that go over the lady parts. So like I could have a nice, good silhouette, as you know, like not sticky booby pads, but like silicone one that I just now kind of wear religiously under my compression tank top without anything else and my leggings. Like I burned holes through these things. I mean, they could tell you stories about their years of service to me. Okay.
I know you re-upped when we went shopping a couple weeks ago, so that's good.
Oh, I did. Up right there.
We always know what Nicole is going to buy on girls' shopping day.
That's right.
If you could create a holiday, my second to last question, create a new holiday based on shit that went down in 2023, what would it be called and how would you celebrate it?
Wow. This is really rough.
While you're thinking about it today, I actually designated December 20th the where the fuck is my non-Amazon gifts shit freak out day, because it's like everything's going swimmingly, and then today is the day where you look at your list and you're like, I don't remember where I bought that Nike sweatshirt from, and I have no receipt, and then I just realized I never ordered it. But I think it should be a national holiday. Like about December 20th is when you like freak out and have to audit your list and realize that shit's either not being tracked as closely as Amazon or you never ordered it and you're fucked.
So today is National Oh Shit Day. That's funny because I was just saying that I was like doing so good today. I had like, it was like my day of National Reconciliation Day. And then I had like a random package stolen, but I don't even know, it wasn't anything I ordered. So somebody was actually sending me something. Hopefully it wasn't like legal documents. Hopefully it was like a gift. It disappeared. So like today is the day of, today is like
reckoning.
Day of reckoning, National Oh Shit Day. Like like whatever. What would I do? Here's one for you. We'll call it the nude year. I would do something that had to be nude. Just getting comfortable with yourself.
Not the new year, the nude year.
The nude year. Like, just get one with your body. Like, do something that makes you feel good about your body. Call it the nude year.
I love it.
That's
Love it.
Happy Nude Year.
I love it. I had and one more random thought too that isn't really well, maybe it is kind of a holiday, but this I was mulling over last week. Like, I feel like work, there should be some sort of like bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah, even though many of us may not be Jewish, that is like the moment when everybody like taps you on the shoulder and says you're no longer a worker bee and you need to stop like trying to prove yourself through hard work and you actually have knowledge and your value is your leadership and your knowledge, and shit's going to change, instead of just like waking up when you're 52 and realizing that day happened like 17 years ago and you didn't do shit about it.
That would require really insightful leadership. So maybe we'll sort of holiday called Insightful Leadership Day.
As the prereq.
This is a prereq, right? Like there's like an order of operations here. By the way, I found the name of the meme guy, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Hold on. Oh, I think his name is Corey. I can't quite see the screenshot. I think it's Corey Viewer, Korey. And the meme that I loved so much was, he says, sitting in your car outside of your house is self-care. I can't explain it to you, but if you know, you know. And I'm like, I literally do that all the time.
I remember in COVID when you used to sit with your Dunkin' Donuts and you were like the happiest person alive with your like.
I still do it
in my mind space. Yeah,
I do it. Like, it's cozy in there. Like, it's confined.
You can lock it.
Sun. I don't 360 views. I don't know what it is, but there's this guy like in my head, and people make fun of me for it. I'm like, oh, I'm still in my car. I'm
and your car is like 32 years old too. That's the funny part, right?
I'm having a whole life experience in that car, and this guy gets it. This guy, Corey.
Right. Last question. What's the weirdest thing that you learned in 2023 that you never expected to know or learn?
The weirdest thing. They can glue eyelash extensions on. Those eyelashes are not real, and they can be glued on individually. That's one. Like,
and they make your whatever you call your eyes beautiful. What do you call them? Lazy eyelid eyes.
My hooded eyelids.
Hooded eyelids. Sorry, I'm making up names.
Like amazingly, like people with small tools can glue things onto your eyelids. I did not know this. I also think I maybe didn't learn, but maybe relearned that I actually have an inordinate amount of chill in me under certain circumstances. And that I have, when I optimize those circumstances, like I can be a really relaxed person who just is not as triggered or does not take on the woes of the universe, can be thoughtful, can apply my own advice. I also found that I'm really good at giving advice, and sometimes it's another great thing. Like, I am like seriously a divorce whisperer, and it's amazing how many times I have like insightful conversations and thoughts that I have definitely not applied to my own experience. So I'm really time tested at like like here's what could work and here's what doesn't. I know from personal experience.
Right.
I have an amazing amount of chill. One lesson that I've learned, and maybe this is what you're getting to, is just the power of taking the high road. That is, if you had to, what the ultimate lesson for 2023 is, it's the power of taking the high road. And that is a combination of just insightfulness and a focus on the long-term game, right? Like, what are you actually trying to achieve?
The long term, yeah.
It's a focus on the long term. The short term, it's often very hard to take the high road, but in the long term, it really serves. And by what I mean for that is not just like taking out inordinate shit or whatever, but it's really about thinking about, like in any interaction or experience, what is actually the issue at hand? What is the thing that you're struggling with? What are you trying to achieve? And what kind of engagement do you have in a day, in a month, in a year? It's going to get you to the place where you feel like you've operated with kindness and integrity, with self-love, and where in the end, you're not simply thinking about you're not feeling diminished for the experience.
You've come so far. I love it. Well, you've always been that person. You've always been that person. But I think that person has been
under stress. I mean, you met me at a really stressful time. Not you, but this community met me in like a stressful time. And what I couldn't even see, like I was at the beginning of a real collapse in a lot of ways that I was fighting against. Like a lot of huge successes, but also, a very slippery slope that I just didn't even see coming. And, everyone has watched me go in, go up, go down, start to come out, and who literally knows what's next. But I do deeply feel that connection to taking the high road. And a lot of people would question my actions personally and professionally, and I'm just like, I don't need to engage in things that make me feel worse about myself, and I won't do it. Even if I don't get the last word in, or I don't say the things, or, or maybe someone benefits at my expense in the short term, it's totally fine.
So good, girl. So good. Well, thank you for letting me indulge. And for those of you listening, in the past, we've done like New Year's themes and Christmas themes. There's some really good episodes. If you scroll back to, we'll link to the show notes to our 12 days of Workmas and our New Year's dares and our theme. We just didn't get our shit together to do that this year.
We wanted something. We needed a conversation too. We hadn't had time to catch up, and there's no reason why in the new year we can't do something equally smashing. Just not
for our new holidays that like we're all gonna come up with, like the bar mitzvahs and the nude years and all of that.
The nude year.
In the nude year.
Come up with your holidays, everybody. Share them on the Facebook page. Come on. We're currently sharing our favorite holiday photos or holiday party memories. Yes. I think maybe we'll even talk about the joy of the imperfect office holiday party. That could be another conversation that we have at some point. So much to say about the holidays. It brings out the best in us. Sometimes the worst. Take the high road, everybody. Take the high road.
Speaking of holidays, I'll just end with my story. So, Thanksgiving, I learned something that in my 49 years I had been getting wrong. So we were getting ready for my family all to be out here. And I don't know, I think you're probably like me and like everybody else. For some reason, when we're young, we are complete and utter slobs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And parents are constantly yelling at us to pick things up. And then in our adulthood, we go 180 degrees the opposite direction. Right. And when my parents are coming out, I get completely neurotic, which I am not normally. And, like clean my fridge and get 72 things cleaned and organized that I hadn't been doing for the last, whatever year. So I was in that mode because they were coming out. My brother was coming out and his family. And of course, the Erin in me, the craziness / used to be a waiter. And so I can do 7 things at once, was running around the house. And I can't remember exactly what happened, but I in my haste, I dropped a bunch of stuff, on our newly polished floors or whatever. And my husband says to me, "You're such a bull in a china shop." And for the first time in my entire life, I heard the word bull. Because I always thought that idiom was you're a bull, BOWL, a china shop. And what's funny about that is that the difference between the two is not just a couple of letters. It completely changes the idiom. So all my life, to me, a bowl in a china shop is like a victim. Like you're this dainty little china bowl in this place where people are walking through. And unfortunately, sometimes people knock into you and break you, right? Victim. When really it's bowl in a china shop, which screams you are the problem. Like you are not the victim. You are the freaking problem. And I had no idea that idiom was bull in a china shop until my 49th year on the earth.
Yeah. Also, can I just say that idiom's at least 150 years old.
Oh, it's one of probably the oldest of all times. That's probably
this is
antiquity.
This is early 1800s.
Word hieroglyphics might have even started this.
Yeah. I mean, you've been screwing something up that pre-existed you for generations. There were reference points. You could have Googled it even. You could have asked questions.
100%.
You could have got clarity. No, you were.
I thought it was bull. Bull in the china.
I love you so much for that. I'm going to get a shirt to go with my new line of t-shirts about things to do in 2024, like ho, ho, ho. I think we need to get a bowl and a china.
Bowl in a china shop. And we need to print the one that I told my son I was going to print for him, because the other day he is always like, yeah, I'm so smart. And he says, I said something about, you look handsome. He goes, yeah, I'm so handsome. And so I said, I want to get you a t-shirt that says humble and handsome, which I think would be the perfect t-shirt. Humble and handsome. Be humble, be handsome, don't be a bull in a china shop.
Be a bull in a shop. Go have your nude year. Or don't. 50% all the way.
Love it.
Hey, it's Erin with a teeny request. If you have ever gotten any value from this podcast and you'd like us to stick around, plus you want it to continue to grow so we can kind of swindle bigger and more knowledgeable guests to join us and to keep providing you with tangible and inspiring actions you can take to achieve the career and life you deserve, could you please just take 1 minute to leave us a rating and a review? Those reviews go a long way in attracting guests to the show, and candidly, they really make Nicole and I's day. We see you. We really do. So when you have the time and inspiration, we'd love to see a rating and review from you. Thank you.